Alright everybody, here we are again with a quick and dirty video about how to frickin' configure your controllers so that you can actually play the game and make Mario move and jump and fly with the propeller suit and such. So basically what you want to do is start Dolphin, and the open button is where you actually open your games, and you can see what the formats that are compatible. I see .elf, .iso, .wbfs, so on and so forth. I have the New Super Mario Bros. Game file, which is in the WBFS format. So if I click open right now, it would actually start the game. But I don't want to do that. First, I want to configure a controller. So when you come to this screen, you might see something that looks like this. There might be none in all 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 of these slots. But what you want to do is you don't want a GameCube controller for New Super Mario Bros. Because, well, GameCube controllers I don't think are compatible with that game at all. So basically what you need to play this game is a Wii remote. Now by that I don't mean you actually need to go and buy a Wii remote. You need to configure a Wii remote to actually play this game. So what you want to do is you might have this selected, but you want to click on this one, make sure that this option, this box is selected. Then you want to configure one of these, I usually do the first one, to an emulated Wii remote. So what this does basically is tells the software that, oh, here is a Wii remote and I'm using a Wii remote to play this game. So now the game will actually accept your input. Anyway, you want to then click on configure, which is this button right here, and then you're going to have this window that shows up. Now in the beginning you might have never mind that. In the beginning you might have something that looks like this, right? You might have blank spaces everywhere, you might have some junk in these buttons and in all these tabs. So basically what you want to do is when you come to this screen, your device that you're going to input from is going to be here. So if you're using a PS4 controller, that's going to be here. If you're going to use an Xbox controller, that should show up here. If it doesn't and you just connected it, you can click refresh and then your device should show up here. In my case, I'm using the keyboard and the mouse. So I'm going to click that as my input device, which is what this box over here means. And I'm going to actually set some buttons. So in the on the Wii remote, there are these following buttons. There's the A, B, 1, 2, minus, plus, and the home button on the actual Wii remote if you've ever seen it. And so what you want to do in this case if you want to bind a key on your keyboard or on your PS4 controller that maps to the A button on an actual Wii remote, for example. So that's what these boxes mean. So for the A, I usually use these settings. I use Q, W. For 1, I use A. For 2, I use S. Minus, plus is minus, and equals on my keyboard. And the home button I usually put to enter or return. On the D-pad, I actually use the up, down, left, right, the arrow keys on my keyboard. And that's basically it. That's all you want to do in this tab. There's 2 more things we have to do though. So, actually 3 more. So, New Super Mario Bros., the game, is played using the Wii, or holding the Wii remote actually sideways. So if you try to click up when you have the game running and your Wii remote isn't sideways, then it's gonna go left or right. It's gonna be weird. So what you want to do is you want to set a key that in this sideways toggle hotkey, which basically tells the software that, hey, I'm holding my Wii remote sideways. That's a way to tell Dolphin emulator that you're actually holding it sideways. And then when you click left bracket, in my case it's left bracket, you can set it to whatever you want as long as it's not the same button as one of these. Then if you click up, then Mario is actually gonna go up, left, right, and down and stuff like that. So you need this key right here. It's important. Or alternatively, you can actually check this box right here that sets your Wii remote to be sideways forever. But the bad thing about this thing is if you play another game that holds your Wii remote upside or upright, then you're gonna need to come into your configurations and set this to be empty and stuff like that. So what I do is I usually just use a key that tells the computer that I'm holding it sideways. So we're basically done on this tab, the general and options tab. we need two more things. So in the game, there are some actions that are done using actually shaking the Wii remote, a physical Wii remote. You actually shake it, and you need that input for this game. So, well, since we're not using an actual Wii remote, we can simulate the shaking. So what I do is for the x-axis, I use one button for all three of these options. So what that does is if you click Z, you can see right here in this graph that the computer thinks we're actually shaking the Wii remote. So it doesn't have to be Z, you can put it M or whatever. As long as all three of these are the same button, you're fine. So that's the penultimate thing we need to do. The last thing is the tilt. So in the Mario game, there are some levels where you actually need to tilt your Wii remote physically to move a platform or whatever. So you actually need to set this thing. So you can, tilt forward, I'm going to set it as 8. Tilt backward, I'm going to set it 2 on my numpad. Doesn't matter what you do, as long as you know what keys to use if you want to tilt it. So that's that. So that's how you configure a Wii remote to play your game with. And, what you can also do is once you've set all these buttons and you want to save these key bindings for these specific buttons, you can create a profile, like for example NSMB. I already have actually 2 profiles. So what you can do is type a profile name and then click save. So what that does is it takes all these keys that you've inputted and saves them into this profile. That's good because say sometime you come in and like change all this and like, oh, I messed it up and set weird stuff to things. What you can do is instead of having to go like, all right, what was it? All right, this was Q, this was W. You don't have to do that. You can just select your profile that you saved in the past and click load, and notice how all the buttons went back to whatever we set it to. So that's a neat little feature. So now we're actually done configuring our controller. Make sure that this is set to your emulated Wii remote that you configured using all these buttons. Close, and then now when you play the game, let's let it load for a second. Let's play a little bit of it. Notice that right here it says hold the Wii remote sideways, so we already done that. I'm going to check again. See, now I just press bracket, and in the top left corner you can see let's make sure our shake one to go. There we go. I'm going to load one of my save files.
Here we go!
Play a little bit of this.
Let's go!
I'm going to load this level, and this is the one where you video. Hopefully it helps and you can get some playing. Alright, bye now.